So did you guys read the case study?
Yeah. And I'm
Okay.
pulling it up right now again just for reference.
Okay.
I've got it open too.
I can go ahead and I'm just going to read it. So that's fresh.
Okay.
That says, I am a CTRS working in a long-term care facility. A resident, Mr. Smith, does not want to participate in any activities. Mr. Smith appears bored and lonely. Mr. Smith's family wants him to be involved, but he is not interested. At the request of the resident's family, I continually invite Mr. Smith to participate in group activities. I experience feelings of discomfort for forcing or encouraging a patient's participation in an activity group when the patient is resistant to attend. So it's another ethics case study I did.
And I have that flow sheet thing from the book pulled up again.
Okay, yeah, I have it too.
Oh, awesome.
This time.
Perfect. So prepared.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is to identify the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the behavior, action, or decision at question? And so I think that would be, do you, like it says, do you force him to participate? Or do you just kind of let him be?
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously you know that he would benefit from participating, but he doesn't want to. He hasn't experienced that yet.
Yeah, this is a tricky.
And at what point is it encouraging and
right?
Or is it forcing him?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's especially hard because his family is like asking you to be in that awkward position, and so then it's like a matter of who do you please, like the client that is actually the one that needs the benefit, or the family, or. Okay, so the next one is determine the professional relevance. So does this pertain to the professional role, and does the dilemma present itself within the working relationship? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think this is pretty common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I volunteer over at Carriage Cove, and all the time we have issues trying to get residents to come to the activities because they'd rather just hang out and watch TV.
Mm.
It'll be good for you. You need to get out of your room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, along with that, I've worked at Rexburg Care and Rehab before, and it was even hard getting them certain patients out of their rooms, like even just for dinner. Mm-hmm. Like they would rather they didn't really want to be there. They didn't want anything to do with anybody. They would rather just sit by themselves because they were more comfortable that way, I guess. They were a little bit bitter that they were there, but still.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had the same thing when I worked at a senior facility. Most of the time it was patients that had dementia that they didn't want to sit still and like participate in activity. They'd rather be up walking around or on the other side of the building or just messing with something else. Like they just wanted to have some kind of a purpose behind what they did instead of just playing the game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing there. So, anything else on that topic?
Obviously it pertains to the professional role because you're the professional, you are developing that relationship with them, and again, you don't want to come across as being forceful. And so I think that it could affect that working relationship that's there, definitely, depending on how you handle it.
Yeah, and you also want that client to like trust you and feel comfortable receiving services from you, and you don't want to be in that awkward situation of like being the big mean person that's trying to get them to do something they don't want to do.
Right.
Yeah. They're not going to benefit from it if they don't want to be there in the first place, and so it kind of defeats our whole purpose to do it.
Exactly.
All right, so the next one, differentiate personal and or professional values and ideals. So what do you think? What are more of the personal values, I guess, that's behind this.
I just think that as the therapist, like, you understand that the activities that are there for him to get involved in and participate in, you know that those will essentially help him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you value that fact that you are there and the agency is there in order to help him. But, you know, he has a different idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's tough because, like, you have to honor the right of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Force him to do anything he doesn't want to do.
Right.
And so it is a really big blend of personal and professional. Like, you can't force him legally, and you don't want to force him, but you know it'll help him. And, like, personally, you just want to be able to help him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly. That's about exactly what covers that section.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, legal duties. I feel like this one's kind of tricky for legal duties because you're not necessarily harming or, like, I don't know, not any kind of a physical
Forcing.
Yeah, you're not like physically trying to hurt this person or like go against the law, but I feel like legally you can't force anyone to do something that they don't want to do, and you have to respect their personal whatever. And, like, especially if this client is in a place where he has gone through assessment and, like, planning process and has specific goals and objectives planned out, like, you can't go against what's in there necessarily. Like, if he may have had something in there that mentions how he just doesn't want to participate in activities or something, I don't know. It's something that you know he doesn't want to do, and so you can't really.
So where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
Do you guys know if there's any laws pertaining to that?
I don't know if there's any, like, actual laws, but I know all of the facilities that I've ever worked at have participant rights, and it's basically
Right.
you can't make them do something they don't feel comfortable doing or they don't want to do. I don't know if it's necessarily like a real law, but that's kind
But
of.
they have the rights either way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't know if there was an actual law regarding this either.
I'm sure there is.
There's got to be something, to some extent of it, but you think.
Yeah. But like I was saying, because it's not like you're physically, like, pushing them into a room and saying you have to do this or, like, touching them in any way, I don't know if that would necessarily count as breaking the law because you're just verbally encouraging them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
And at the same time, like, they're paying for services.
Yeah.
Like, they should be participating in them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just
which is where the family comes in, because the family's probably helping pay for that, and so it makes sense why they want him to get involved for that sense at least.
Yeah.
And it might also depend on, like, the mental state of the client, because I know, like, for my grandparents and stuff, when they got to a point where they couldn't make decisions for themselves, that decision making got turned over to my mom. And so even, like, my grandpa, he had dementia and he didn't want to do something. My mom technically had the right to say, no, he needs to be doing this. And so I think it also depends on where this resident lies within that spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a big factor.
All right. Anything else on legal duties?
No?
All right. So the next one is the ethical obligations.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess this kind of just relates back to what we were just talking about with, like, the patient rights and, following the code of ethics that your agency has regarding honoring those patient rights, participant rights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's not like much to it other than like just the participant rights, and like I said, it all depends on where they are mentally and who has that right to make those decisions. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, determine an action. What do we do?
I think probably to begin with, assuming that he's all good mentally, like he doesn't have dementia or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think talking to him and telling him like why the activities are important and what the benefit is, and talking about like, okay, so you don't like any of the activities that we're doing, but what would you like to do?
Mm-hmm. I think that would be a big help, is figuring out what he likes, and maybe that's just why he's not participating, is because he's not interested in anything that's being planned.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, and I think that goes back to what we've been learning about assessments and stuff. Like, it's so important to know what the participant actually wants to do. And same with the last ethics case study that we did with the yoga class. Like,
Right.
if it's not something that the people want to do, then they're not going to do it. And especially at senior places where they have their wisdom established and they know that they're older than you, they
know what they like, and they're not going to do anything they don't like.
They don't care if you are offended or not.
Mm-mm.
So I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm. I also think that even if after talking to him, establishing that, what would you like to do, what wouldn't you like to do, if he's still just kind of like, sorry, I don't want to do anything, I think that you could talk to his family, because they want him to participate as well. And so if you can't kind of get through to him on why it would be good for him to participate, maybe he'll take it from somebody he knows better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and maybe it's out of his comfort zone. He likes doing what he's doing, and so maybe inviting the family or a family member to join the activity, help encourage him to come, and that way he knows somebody there, and he can get familiar with it with someone who is familiar.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good idea too.
That's a good idea. Just having somebody there that makes it a more comfortable situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all in all, like, I feel like in certain situations it would be a very stubborn case where the person is just, they're not happy with their life and they just really don't feel like being around others or participating in activities. And then I think that goes back to what you said, Erin, and just talking to the family and telling them he doesn't want to participate. Like, we can't force him. And if you can get through to him, then that's great. And we can keep inviting him to activities and whatnot. But if it's not going to get through to him, then it's not going to get through to him. And that's how it is.
And then maybe you could go off of that and plan something, like Alex said, with the family. But if he doesn't want to be with other people, then just starting off just like, having a family member, a couple family members coming and doing an activity just with the family.
Yeah.
Until he, feels comfortable enough to get out and branch out with others that are there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And then, like, maybe after a little while introduce like one or two other people that are into the similar types of activities, and then
someone he can identify with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or even if you can't get the family involved, doing a one-on-one activity and then having like one other person come in and slowly incorporate more people so that he gets to know more people in a less intimidating.
Yeah. I think that doing that, the one-on-one, might be a good idea, because then you can establish that, like, that helping relationship. You can build that trust. And then when you do start bringing other people in, maybe he'll think, oh, well, I can trust you. You like them, so I should give them a chance, type of a thing.
Yeah.
So that might be a good way to go about too, as well. I like that, Alex.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And even if that one-on-one is just simply getting to know him or just anything about his life, just getting him talking about something other than being upset about being where he is and not wanting to be around people. And then like slowly introducing him to other people and different activities and whatnot.
And maybe even just finding the root of why he does feel the way he does, why he is, so upset and doesn't want to necessarily be there. I mean, you know, of course, a lot of elderly people, they, again, have their lives. They know where they're comfortable, and when that changes, it's hard. And so that, you know, that might just be the fact of the matter, but getting down to like the details of it and exactly what he's feeling can maybe help know which direction to go with determining the action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. All right. Anything else on that?
I think we covered it all.
I think we did.
All right. Well, we can end there. All right.
Awesome.
Talk to you guys next time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you. See ya.